In the background, tonight featured artist Ralph Irizarry and Timbalaye from their latest Best Kept Secret, and this on Shanachi Records. And we're listening to the Amari Bayard original Mojo Cubano featuring Ralph Irizarry. In fact, if everything goes well here, I think I have Ralph on the telephone. Ralph, can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, how you doing, Raul?
I'm good, Ralph. How are you, my friend? We are speaking with Ralph Irizarry from his home in New York. Ralph, how you doing, my friend?
I'm pretty good. A little under the weather because the weather's kind of crazy here. One day it's 35 degrees, the next day it's 65.
Jeez, man, that's terrible, man. That's typical New York, though, right, man?
Yeah, it is. At this time in November, anyway.
So, Ralph, how's things going? You keeping yourself busy, my friend?
I'm trying to, yeah. I'm like I was just telling you, I'm going to Amsterdam to Holland tomorrow, where I'm going to be a guest artist of Larry Harlow's orchestra.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, and yesterday I performed with a small, more danceable group that I have called Son Criollo. I played at a club called Nell's here, where they play a lot of Cuban music and stuff, and so I've been keeping myself a little busy. Yeah.
Good for you. With the Son Criollo, you doing more of a salsa dura type thing?
Exactly. That's some hand-picked guys. Oscar Hernandez.
Oh, right, man.
Eddie Montalvo, Ruben Rodriguez, Germán Olivera. Just some of the veterans. We
nice,
play on
man.
off nights, not really on weekends, but from Monday to Thursday, we pick up stuff and just slam it,
Do me a favor, Ralph. Give Oscar my regards, man. I met you guys when you played with Ruben Blades here in I saw you guys in Ventura. In fact, you were the one that introduced me to Ruben. I don't know if you remember. That's a long time ago, like 89 or something like that. But give Oscar my regards, man. I've kept in touch with him, but I haven't spoken to him in a while. I guess
I sure will.
He's doing okay, You guys gonna record something? As far as Son Criollo?
The Son Criollo?
Yeah.
Actually, about a month and a half ago, we did something live at a club here called SOB, Sounds of Brazil. And they've incorporated a full, high-tech studio in the basement of the club.
No kidding, man.
And we did something live, and it sounds pretty good. But as far as gathering original material and going out there and shopping for a record company to record a Son Criollo CD, I haven't really thought of that yet.
Not yet, yeah. So, Ralph, give the audience a brief synopsis of yourself, man. Where you were born, that whole thing, man.
Well, I was born in El Barrio in Spanish Harlem in 1954. My father migrated from Puerto Rico, from Ponce, and my mother was from Mayagüez, or is from Mayagüez. And basically, when I was a very small child of around maybe a year and a half or 2 years, we moved to Brooklyn. And I was basically raised in Brooklyn. And when I was about 16 or 17, my father moved back to Puerto Rico. And he passed there in Puerto Rico. My mother still lives in Ponce. And I got the music bug kind of late in life. I was about 16 years old, which is a little late when you think of people like Giovanni that was just already playing the quinto. Giovanni Hidalgo was playing quinto when he was 3 years old, and Mark Quiñones was already, playing with the Tito Puente Orchestra and dancing when he was 6 or 7. So I kind of consider myself starting very late at 16. And basically was playing for about a year here in New York City when when my father decided to move back to the island. Over there, I started playing with some local groups, Orquesta Mundo. I remember playing with La Terrifica right after they left La Sonora Ponceña. Tito Gomez and like 3 or 4 of the guys from Sonora Ponceña created their own group called La Terrifica. I played with that group. But you know what? I got sort of discriminated against a little bit because in those days, I'm talking about, 30 years ago.
Right.
When you came from New York City, or I guess from the States in general, the people there in Puerto Rico, maybe because of a few bad apples, felt that, a little intimidated by people from the States.
Really?
Yeah, and it was almost like you were not from there,
Wow.
So I got teased about how I spoke Spanish, and I was called a New Yorican, and this and that. And so after about 3.5 years of being sort of discriminated against, I decided to move back to New York. When I came back to New York in about 1970, I'd say 4, I started playing with some charanga bands, Charanga America, Novedades, and playing with Novedades at the Corso nightclub on 86th Street and 3rd Avenue is where Ray Barretto, on the insistence of Marty Arrett, the club manager, came to see me perform because he was going to form a band after he tried the jazz stuff back then, and was a sort of a failed attempt. He came back and wanted to do another Latin group. So he came to see me at the... it was a very snowy day. There was like a blizzard out there, and we were already playing our last tune at about 2:30 in the morning. And I thought, well, Ray Barretto's not going to show up tonight. There's a blizzard out there.
Right.
And we were doing our last tune, and I remember I got a solo on the last tune.
Wow. And
I was deeply involved in my solo, and when I picked my head up, there was this towering figure at the door, shaking the snow off his coat and stuff like that. And sure enough, it was Ray Barretto who caught my solo at the end. And about 2 or 3 months after that, after Ray Barretto had told me that he was going to call me to join his band, which was later known as the Reconstruction Band.
Right.
He never called. So I gave up on it, and 3 months later, I was sitting in my living room, and the phone rang, and he says, "Hey, Papa, how you doing, Ralphie?" And I said, "Well, who's this?" And he said, "It's Ray Barretto." And the phone dropped from my hand because I thought he wasn't going to call.
Right.
So I said, "Ray Barretto," I said, "we spoke 3 months ago. I thought you were never going to call." He says, "No, I'm just going to start rehearsing to do a record, and I want you to be part of the band."
Wow.
That was my start with Ray Barretto. I lasted 4.5 years with Ray. I recorded Reconstruction was my first record, and then we did all the other ones, Fuerza Gigante and Rhythm of Life and Celia Cruz, Adalberto, and the Big Three album.
Tremendo Trio.
Right, El Tremendo Trio. And basically, I was there till about 1983 when Ruben Blades asked me to join Safe del Solar.
We are currently speaking with tonight's featured artist, Ralph Irizarry, and he's got a band called Timbalaye, and we're speaking about Ralph's giving us a little synopsis of his life. And, Ralph, that Reconstruction album, man, was probably, in my opinion, Ray Barretto's finest hour, the finest band that he had, man. It was, I spoke to him about I interviewed him about 2 weeks ago on the program, and we were talking about that. And he says he doesn't really have a favorite, because of all the groups that he's had and stuff. But that's one of the outstanding groups that he had. My favorite album of Ray Barretto's, man, Smoking album.
It had a lot of innovative stuff in there. Sal Cuevas did some real innovative stuff. The band itself, we just did some things there that sort of stuck around, and other bands followed after.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's funny because it was more of a contemporary edge to salsa, and it was, I think, a lot of... I know Ray got a lot of flack for it because it was like way ahead, way over everybody's head in a roundabout way. It was very bailable, but it was real jazzy and real modern, I guess you could say. Yeah,
the tempos were pretty fast.
Yeah, man.
And it was kind of progressive. That might have been. I don't know if that hampered the band in a way. Because. Ray was all about the music at the time, and he wanted to sort of push the envelope. And I guess some of that stuff rubbed off on me because if you've heard my two CDs with Timbalaye, you can also tell that I'm trying to move the music forward, so to speak.
You know, you were speaking about the fact that after Barreto, you joined Ruben Blades' group.
Right.
You were part of Son de Solar, right?
No, Seis del Solar. I'm an original member of Seis del Solar, then it became Son del Solar.
That's right, Seis. Then that's when then Seis del Solar became a entity all by itself, right?
Well, we kept performing with Ruben with Son del Solar.
Yeah.
But on Ruben's insistence, we recorded 2 Latin jazz records, instrumental records on the Mesador label under the name of Seis del Solar.
Right. And wonderful albums, too, man. Jeez, what great albums, Oscar and all you guys, man. It was definitely innovative. The things that you guys are doing, Robert Amin, yourself, Franceschini, I mean, that was jamming, man. Jamming. Too bad you guys don't get back together again. That'd be nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing is that, everybody sort of got busy with their own agendas.
Right.
And that's pretty much, I don't know if I would have
stayed.
If I would have formed Timbalaye, if Seis del Solar would have kept going. I was perfectly happy doing the Seis del Solar, but, Oscar got into Broadway plays with Paul Simon. Arturo Ortiz, who used to do some things with us, also became the musical director of Ricky Martin.
Oh, okay, well.
And people just sort of went their own ways, and that's what I think prompted me to say, well, I like the Latin jazz, I like, featuring instrumentalists, because let's face it, nowadays mostly it's all about the singers, and the musicians are back there, and they really don't get an opportunity to solo as much anymore. Not like in the bands in the 70s, where you knew who Eddie Palmieri's rhythm section was, you knew who Ray Barretto's rhythm section was, you knew who played with Larry Harlow.
It's true, man.
And you knew the musicians in the bands. Today, there's a band that can accompany 5 singers, in one night. And who gives a damn who's in the back there? They're like pieces of furniture, Really not too many solos and things like that. And it's all about the Gilberto Santa Rosa, Victor Manuel, Tony Vega. I don't have anything against singers, but, I sort of missed, hearing instrumental solos and stuff like that.
Sure,
that's why
man.
I said, well, I'm going to go, the Latin jazz route,
Yeah, and you're having a ball, man, because the band sounds wonderful. So you've got 2 CDs on, how do you say it, Shanachie Records?
It's actually Shanachie.
Shanachie?
Yes.
Okay, I always say Shanachie. I don't know why Shanachie. Anyway, but you did your first one, a couple years ago, 98, I guess it was? 90?
It was around in 98, yeah.
And that's your band, you have Roberto Quintero on the congas and stuff?
Yeah, it's Roberto Quintero from Venezuela, Luis Perdomo also from Venezuela, Waldo Chavez, who's from El Salvador. On that first record, I think Richard Nant played, who was from Argentina. So it was a pretty good mix, like a United Nations of a kind of a band,
All right, Dizzy. Just kidding, man.
Right.
So cool, Ralph. Hey, so when you do your material, I mean, who helps you, or is it your idea of what you want to do? How does the music come together for your band, man?
I pretty much discuss the type of tune I want the arranger to do for me. Since I don't arrange myself, I'll tell the arranger, basically what kind of tune I want. Let's say Arturo Ortiz did the Bomba Mundo on the first record. I wanted him to do a bomba. It's a Puerto Rican folkloric rhythm, and I know that he knows it well. I did a chacarera, an Argentinian chacarera, and I had Richard Nant and a cohort of his from Argentina do that tune. Rampa Arriba and Rumba Jam and all that stuff were tunes that I asked Oriente Lopez, who was one of those arrangers of that group from Cuba, Afro Cuba.
Right,
which was an incredible fusion group.
One of my favorites, man.
Yeah, and so, I knew he was going to come through with some good material. And then people in Venezuela that I also count with are people that are from that group, Waco.
Oh, yeah, man.
From Guaco.
What a great band, man.
Yeah, and there's very good arrangers. I just didn't want to use the same arrangers that everybody used in New York. If you notice, I'm naming people, different people. I knew I needed a different sound.
Sure, man.
I knew I wanted to have a distinctive sound, and I was going to have to go to other arrangers that people didn't use for whatever reason or didn't think of using. So, but I basically go through tunes like Raza Cósmica. I gave to Juan Carlos Salas, who's the musical director of Guaco, and I told him, look, I want a tune where I can take a solo and have, instead of the brass, like Tito Puente did, Ran Can Can, or a lot of tunes where the brass would do something and he would answer them on the timbal. I wanted something where the bass and piano interacted with me in my solo. So, Raza Cósmica came about that way.
That's so cool, man.
And I wrote a lyric for Raza Cósmica. There was an empty space there, and I said, well, let me try my hand at writing a little bit of lyrics. And so I wrote the lyrics to the little bit of lyrics that are in Raza Cósmica. But I basically confer with my arrangers, and I tell them what type of tunes I want and stuff. If it's a plena, I know who to go to. If you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you've been at it so long, man. You know exactly who to hit up, man. That is so cool,
Yeah.
We are currently speaking with Ralph Irizarry, the leader of Timbalaye. And hey, Ralph, when did you start when did you think the band? When did that come about?
The what?
When did the band come about? When did Timbalaye? When did you have the notion of starting the band, and why the name Timbalaye?
Well, again, when things started slowing down with Seis del Solar as a band, and Ruben had already explained to us that after 14 years, he was going to go in another direction and stuff like that. I knew that there were festivals all over the world that you could do Latin jazz because I played at most of them with Ruben Blades and Ray Barretto.
Right.
So I knew that I wanted the whole world to be my stage.
Sure.
So I thought that doing a good Latin jazz with some real Latin rhythm bass like Alamongo and Willie Bobo type thing. I didn't want a drummer. I had just finished playing with a drummer for 13 years in a band. So
you wanted to be the drummer this time. Yeah, good
so
for you.
I decided around 1996 to do a demo, actually a recording where I maxed out 3 credit cards, 2 of my wife's and 1 of mine. And I went into the studio and I did a demo, and I tried to sell it and shop it out there, but it was a little too progressive for most people. They were used to listening to a certain brand of Latin jazz, and my stuff was a little bit more progressive and a little different than anything anybody was hearing. So Tropic Jazz, the Ralph McCart, the RMM label, jazz label, turned it down. Blue Note felt that they already had Irakere, and they didn't want no conflict of interest, having a group like Timbalaye with the... So nothing really happened with the demo. So actually I said to myself, well, later for the record, later for the demo, I want to perform with this band.
Right.
This band is a good enough band for me to play live with. So I just focused my energy. I recorded it with some great musicians, Darío Eskenazi, Ruben Rodriguez, Luisito Quintero played congas when I did my demo. And then I said, well, these guys are great musicians, but I can't count on them to be in my band on a permanent basis. So this is where I got Perdomo and Waldo Chavez and Roberto Quintero and all of that, and they got really interested in the band, and we just started doing door gigs. Sometimes we'd make $3 on the night,
Yeah, well.
And we just started doing door gigs around town, and word of mouth started spreading around that there was a new Latin jazz group and that you had to go see it to believe it, because, I rehearsed for 3 months, twice a week, without the promise of any work.
Wow.
I had to get rid of like 5 musicians, or I didn't get rid of them. They just got up from their chair and said, you must be crazy. How are we going to rehearse for 3 months, twice a week, and you don't even have a gig this weekend?
Yeah, true.
You don't even have a gig after 3 months. I said, well, you know what? I want to do this band different than other bands. Most musicians, they won't rehearse unless you have a gig for them. This was a project. It was a labor of love. It was something special, I felt. The music, the arrangements were special. It deserved the best shot coming out of the gate.
Sure.
So I found the musicians that got involved and believed in what I was going to try to do, and I told them, I need your help. I can't do it by myself.
Right.
And I rehearsed for 3 months. You know, that's why when you hear the band sounds so tight.
Oh, very much so.
Because we come from a different source than, you know, it was almost like, I almost like created something by rehearsing, because it was unheard of for people to rehearse that much without the promise of a gig.
Right.
So after 3 months, when the band came out, it was like if we had been playing for 10 years.
Wow,
already.
man, that is so cool, man.
And wherever we performed, where people would just go crazy.
That must have felt good, man.
It did, because it was only an idea of mine to really get the band that tight. And I didn't know what was going to be the outcome.
Wow.
Well, the outcome was that the band was awesome from gig one.
That is so cool, man.
You know, and so after word of mouth got around, then producers started coming to the shows and everything. And that's where Ana Raiz, may she rest in peace, who just passed away, a great promoter here in New York. She talked to Randall Grass of Shawnee about the... first we had gotten this incredible write-up in the New York Times.
Really?
We got an incredible, like a whole page write-up of, you know, you people got to go check out this band. They're performing at Gonzalez and Gonzalez every Wednesday, and they're incredible, blah, blah, blah. And it's the new Latin jazz and blah, blah, blah. And so that started bringing down producers and stuff. And I finally got a record deal. And instead of me using the demo that I paid all that money for, that I maxed out all those credit cards, I decided that after playing all that music for 2 years, we were playing it much better than when I first did the demo. So I actually still owe one of those credit cards, because instead of putting that money and paying my credit cards and leaving the demo or the recording as it was, I redid all the songs over again.
Wow.
Because I knew that it was going to be important for me to get the best record. My first record had to be different. It had to be, you know, well played. And
with the band you had,
when I did my whole record, I'll be honest with you, in a day and a half.
Wow, man. So you guys were a well lubricated machine, man.
Yeah, we did like 7 or 8 tunes the first day, and then we just came in, and by 1 o'clock in the afternoon of the next day, we were finished with the record.
1 or 2 takes, 3 takes? How many takes?
No, there was tunes that we just did one take, and we said, you know, that's it, you know.
That is so hot, man.
We cleaned up little stuff, but basically we did it all live. Everybody playing at the same time.
You know, it's a trip. I bought the Straight No Chaser, Thelonious Monk's documentary.
Right.
And I remember when he was in the studio, man, I'll never forget this, when he was in the studio and he's playing, they're playing, and then they stopped him. He goes, "Why'd you stop me?" He says, "Well, we got to record." He says, "You weren't recording this?" And I mean, he got mad, man. But I mean, he said, you know, he says, if you don't do it after the first time, it's not going to happen anymore. You know, and I see what you did with the band was beautiful, because it's very rare that you can get it in the first take, unless you're a well-oiled machine like Puente's Orchestra. You know, that, I mean, they used to go and just like one take everything, man. You know, and you know, your work, you know, paid off, man. That's awesome, man.
After those 3 months of rehearsal and then doing gigs around town for 2 years,
paid off.
If we could not go in the studio and just knock these tunes down in one take, you know, then
something's wrong.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the bottom line is we would do one take, and then we would say, let's do another one for the hell of it, and we'd end up keeping the first one.
Oh, man, that's a trip, man. That's a trip, man. Hey, Ralph, just how did you get what was the name Reverend Clavel about, man? Who?
Well, that's Bobby Franceschini, who's a very important component of the group, even though he hasn't been playing with me live because he's playing with Mike Stern. But, you know, his tunes people always like his tunes, whether it's Piezote or Amanecer en el Barrio. And Reverend Clave was just like a gospel thing that he wanted to do in the beginning. You know, and as you're listening to the tune, you don't know where the tune is going.
That's true. That's true.
Because it's almost like a spiritual type of thing.
Yeah, you're right.
And then I bust out with the clave, and you say, "Oh, okay, they're going to do a Latin jazz."
Here we go.
But you know, when you first listen to the tune, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's incredible how sometimes you hear this particular thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, what happened here, man? Where are we going here? You know, that's hot, man. Hey, Ralph, of your experiences with Barreto and Blades, which ones stand out with you the most, man? Of where you perform, you know, any highlights of those particular tenures with those guys?
Wow,
you probably got a bunch of them, man.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess. You know, I went from playing charanga, you know, one evening, one snowy night at the Corso nightclub, and, you know, and after Ray Barreto called me to join the band, we rehearsed 2 weeks, and we recorded Reconstruction. And I was only playing a little cha-cha bell, you know, for the 2 years that I was playing charanga. All I was playing was a cha-cha bell.
Yeah, right,
And when Ray Barreto recruited me, he said, okay, I want a bass drum, I want a floor tom-tom, 2 cymbals, a snare, and, you know, and I said, Ray, but, you know, I've only been playing the cha-cha bell, and you want me to play almost a drum kit here.
Wow,
He says, Ralphie, I know you can do it, blah, blah, blah. I almost, you know, I mean, I packed up halfway through the first song because I didn't feel I could do it. He threw down his headphones and he said, damn it, Ralphie, if we got to stop one more time for you. And I told him, I said, Ray, you need Nicky Marret. You need somebody in here that can play all this stuff.
Wow, man.
I told you I was not going to be able to do it. So I started taking down my bells and you know, tearing apart my setup, you know, to go home. Because it was just too much, you know. I mean, you heard those tunes on Reconstruction.
Oh, yeah.
So to go from charanga to do that, it was like, so he tells me, no, Ralphie, if I wanted Nicky Marrero, if I wanted one of those other guys, I would have had them here. I want you to do this. You're the timbalero. And I don't care how long it takes us to do it, you're going to do it.
That's hot, man. That is so cool.
And he said, no pressure, no more pressure. I'm sorry if I got upset. Let's just have fun and let's do this.
And there's Reconstruction for you.
And there's Reconstruction. But what got me was that 2 weeks after we did Reconstruction, we played all the tunes on Reconstruction at the Madison Square Garden for 23,000 people.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. How was the reaction, man?
The reaction was incredible. I mean, it was Ray Barreto's homecoming, you know. I mean, we were playing with some other groups, Cal de Leon and a whole bunch of other people.
Right.
But it was basically Ray Barreto's comeback, you know, into the world of salsa or whatever. And so, you know, he comes out with this orchestra, you know, which was the Reconstruction Orchestra, Papo Vasquez, Oscar Hernandez, Sal Cueva, you know, Ray Maldonado. I mean, it was an incredible group. Ray de la Paz, Adalberto Santiago, you know, and we burned at the Madison Square Garden, you know.
Wow.
And, you know, that's got to be some of the memorable stuff. I mean, with Ruben Blades, you know, we did so many things, you know, Carnegie Hall and so many great gigs, and Montreux Jazz Festival. We played for, you know, 80-something thousand people in Chile where they tortured people.
Wow, man.
And it was us and Wynton Marsalis and Sting and all this at an Amnesty International concert. And I was down in the, you know, in the lower levels where they used to torture the people.
Oh, wow, man.
And over there, you know, in Chile, and you know, when all the mothers and wives came with the pictures of the people that they dragged out of their houses that they never saw again. And, you know, that was a very emotional night for me that day in Chile when we played that Amnesty International concert. There's just so many things like that that I remember, you know, that, you know, incredible TV shows that we did, and, you know, just with Ruben, I really did a whole bunch of great stuff, you know.
Around the world, huh?
Oh, a couple of times.
Yeah. You are currently listening to Jazz Latino. My name is Raul Rico Jr., along with Ralph Irizarry, tonight's featured artist, and featuring Ralph and his band Timbalaya. And we're talking about Ralph at one time was with Ray Barretto's orchestra in the latter 70s, early 80s, and then with Ruben Blades for about 14 years, Ralph?
I'd say about 13 to 14.
13, 14 years, and asking Ralph about all the wonderful experiences. In fact, the one time I saw them at the Hollywood Bowl at the Playboy Jazz Festival, man, and they were people were dancing in the aisles, man. It was incredible. I remember you guys were doing Web at that, man, and that was a trippy day, man. Everybody's dancing, man. It's a trip to see that.
Wow.
Man.
That was another memorable thing. I remember when I first met Van Van.
Mm-hmm.
We did a tour in Europe together for 2 weeks, where the band took the same bus, same hotel.
No kidding, man.
We ate together every night for 2 weeks.
Wow.
We became brothers after that tour, man.
Oh, wow, man.
Yeah.
Got to hang with Changuito, huh, man?
Oh man, are you kidding me? My compadre.
Guy's beautiful, man. What a musician, what a person, man. It's incredible the stuff that he's done and continues to do, just like you, man, you know?
Yeah, I played at the Havana Jazz Festival.
Did you?
Last year.
Mm-hmm.
I was invited by Chucho Valdez, and Timbalaya played at the Havana Jazz Festival.
Congratulations, man. How'd that go?
Man, we did so great. I mean, I knew the people were going to like us, but I didn't know we were going to get, like, you know, there were times when we got 2 and 3 standing ovations.
That is awesome, man.
It was so incredible. And Changuito was there with my goddaughter, his daughter, and, you know, he was so proud of me and stuff, you know, that I was with my own band in Cuba, in Havana.
That's great,
tearing it up, you know, and it was one of the highlights of my career to have gone to Cuba with a group, you know, myself, a timbalero, you know, and here I am, you know, in Cuba with my own group. It was like a dream come true.
There you go, man. That's incredible, man. Ralph, what plans do you have for your future, man? I know you want to keep Timbalaya going, and you got more albums in the horizon. What's going on?
Well, right now I'm shopping for a record label. You know, I did 2 with Shawnee, and the situation is not right for me to do a third one. So I'm getting, you know, arrangements together. I just got something yesterday by, you know, DHL from Venezuela. A producer over there, sent me an incredible arrangement that I'm definitely putting on the next record.
It's so cool, man.
And I'm going to do another record, another Timbalaya record, because Timbalaya to me is, you know, the group that I want to, you know, either retire or go on stage playing my timbales with, you know, a la Machito and all the great musicians that go on stage, you know. That's what I want to do with Timbalaya. So Timbalaya is my main project. I do other things because, you know, I have to keep the food on the table.
Well, sure,
you know?
man, yeah.
But where my heart lies is in my group Timbalaya. And you asked me about the name of the group.
Sure.
The name, I used to hear in Guaguancos, you know, Carlos Embale and all that. They had tunes a la Timbalaya.
Yeah, right,
and all that. What I liked about the name was that the first 6 letters spelled Timbal.
Timbal, right, So cool,
and
man.
I'm a timbalero.
Yeah.
And then later on, I was talking to some guys of the, you know, Folklorico Nacional and stuff, and they told me that Timba means party and Laye means world.
Oh, wow.
So it's like party world or world party.
So cool,
is
Ralph.
what the name means, you know?
That'll work,
so
man.
It's cool. It works for me, you know?
Hey, Ralph, how old are you, man?
I'm 47 years young.
Yeah, join the club, buddy. We're right there, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, weren't you out here in Southern California not too long ago in the summertime?
You know, it was so great because, you know, you got yourself, Raul, and Jose Rizzo and Chata. And, you know, you guys have some incredible non-commercial radio stations. And you know, to me, the West Coast is doing a lot of great stuff as far as the music.
Well, thanks, Ralph.
And and giving us people who are not able to get on commercial radio an opportunity to have our music heard. So groups like mine and William Cepeda and you know, Poncho and all these other people, we're forever indebted to you people.
It's our pleasure, man.
And so, you know, Jose Rizzo wanted to bring us out since the first record. And we would always speak of, you know, one of these days it's going to happen, and one of these days it'll happen, and I'll come to California and play some, you know, Latin jazz for my kind of crowd. Not take my Latin jazz band into a place where they want to dance salsa.
Right,
You know, because I love to dance, and I know how to play that too, but when it comes to timbalaye, what I play is what I play, you know, is what's on the records and stuff, you know.
Right.
I won't break down and play bilongo or something like that, you know, just because somebody wants to dance a salsa.
Right.
I got son criollo for that, you know what I'm saying?
There you go.
And there's a lot of bands that do that and do it well. But, so, you know, finally, Jose, there was an opening there to do a festival at Mocha, and I was hired to play at that festival. And through the airline tickets being paid by that festival, I was also able to play at the Central Avenue Festival that Jose was involved in.
Right,
And I was also able to do a night at the Conga Room.
No kidding, man.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
So I did 3 things, and then I went to San Francisco, and we did a very memorable evening at Yoshi's.
Really, man? Good for you.
And Yoshi's was killing. As a matter of fact, they want to bring the band now to do not one night, but maybe 3.
Good for you, Ralph, man.
We sold it out, and we got a very great response in San Francisco.
You know, Chuy Varela is a real instrumental pusher of the music up there, man. And Chuy Varela is a great guy up there at KCSM, and I know his audience probably went and checked you out too, man. It's incredible, man.
Chuy has been a supporter of what I've been doing, what Cesar Solal has been doing, what Ruben's doing. I mean, there's not enough superlatives for me to speak about Chuy. Chuy's just a great, I mean, we are so lucky to have him with us.
You're not kidding, buddy. You aren't kidding. So hopefully, man, when you do that thing in Yoshi's, hope you come back here to Southern California, man. I'd love to hang with you, man, and just check out the band and stuff, you know.
I'd love to go. You know, I have a feeling that, you know, at some point I'm going to have a real good relationship with, you know, the left coast, and I'm going to be going there on a regular basis, God willing, you know.
That's great, Ralph. Well, listen, buddy, I'm going to let you go, and Ralph, thank you so much for spending some time with us, and let me pick your brain about yourself and Timbalaye, man, and keep the great work, my friend. You got a beautiful band, and, man, I hope you do 100 albums, to be honest with you, man.
Raul, thank you for the invitation. I'm going to pack so I don't have to do no packing tomorrow because, again, I'm leaving for Amsterdam tomorrow. But it was just great chatting with you and your audience. And, again, thank you for supporting this music.
Oh, my pleasure,
you know,
Ralph.
for keeping us, you know, have everyone listening to what we're doing out here also on the East Coast.
Well, it's my utmost pleasure. And when are you getting back from Amsterdam?
Actually, it's only a 4-day thing.
Okay.
So I'll be back by Tuesday.
Okay, well, I'll email you and we'll keep in touch, and maybe I'll give you a call one of these evenings.
Raul, thank you so much, man.
Okay, Ralph, you take care.
Thanks for the opportunity. God bless.
And God bless you, too, and thanks a lot, Ralph. Take care.
Bye.
Good night, buddy. Good night.